I feel like this is a good example of a bad design process. The fact that you make things up as you go and you don't give yourself much room to go back and change things. This makes for a bad design. Although we've been doing this, I guess, the whole build. A proper design process, you're supposed to like sketch an idea and then you make more drawings to work it out on the drawing and then you build the real thing. So that you don't run into problems that we're running into now, which is like you're just making it up and things look weird because you don't know what you're doing. So if anybody is looking for a good example of a bad design process, Q says it's called organic design, much more fun than setting it out at the start. When it's all decided at the start, then it's just a job to complete. Well, yeah. Yeah. But like, why would I put the glass there? Like, why didn't you say something earlier? I mean, you're right. Like, this is more fun. It's more interesting. But if you do this in the real world with a real building, you waste so much money. I, we've we built the whole thing, Q, and then we shifted it over by one block. If you do that in real life, you basically build the whole house, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, and then you demolish the whole house, and then you build the same house 1 meter across. You just spent twice the money on the same house. So yes, it's an interesting design process. But really should not do this sort of thing in real life, I'm just saying. I mean, we're playing Minecraft, so it's fine. Although, you know, having said that, even if you're like designing on paper, like a real architect, having to like redraw stuff is also a lot of work. Like it's less work than rebuilding the whole tower. But having to redo all your drawings is also a lot of work. Anyway, it's just part of the process. It's all part of the process. Alright, so we do that. Wait a minute, why are they missing blocks down here? We're missing those down there. Okay, fixed it. And then there, and there, and there. And you know, like, sometimes you, like, see in the news, or like, people talk about construction projects going over budget, right? Like when the government like builds a road and it ends up costing twice as much as they planned. And if you're not a construction person, you look at that and you're like, how can they mess up that much? They were gonna build a road, and when they're done, it costs twice as much as they thought. Like what? How does that happen? Well, you know, like I guess we have to move the road across by 1 meter. That's how it happens. It's like when you don't plan things properly the first time. Then, in fact, yes, it can happen very easily. That your thing ends up costing twice as much. So... not to mix... Not to make excuses, of course. But it can happen. I can see how it happens. I also missed the glass here. Let me put this glass in. A while back in the news, they were building a pedestrian bridge across a road in the United States, and the whole thing just collapsed on them. That can happen. So that one, I think what they did, I didn't see the report afterwards, maybe they covered it up. I think what they did was they designed the bridge, and bridges, if you don't know, they have like pretensioned, it's pretension concrete. So you cast the concrete around a steel rod, or like the steel reinforcing has been pulled apart, and then you cast the concrete around it, and then you release the steel. The steel pulls together and it pulls the concrete tighter, so then it's stronger. Because like, you imagine a rubber band, you pull a rubber band and then you put Play-Doh around it or something, and then you release the rubber band will pull the Play-Doh together, and that compresses the whole thing and makes it stronger, right? And I think what they did with that bridge is they designed it, they figured out the engineering, they built the bridge deck, and it's supposed to sit on two supports, but then they moved one of the supports over by a few meters. And so then the tensioning was designed for a specific distance, and they moved the support to a different distance, and so then the tensioning was sitting on top of nothing, and then the whole thing fell apart. I'm not explaining it very well. I guess I need to make a diagram. I can make a diagram. Actually, I want to make a diagram now. So arches only work because... Alright, so let me like make a diagram. So imagine you have like an arch, or you have like two arches. I think it was like there was like a longer span, and then there was like a shorter span next to it. So imagine you have that. That's your bridge. You've made like one arch and then a second arch, right? But then you remove this. What's gonna happen is that's gonna collapse there. because arches don't work like that. Arches only work if the whole arch has two supports on the ends of it. So now there's like two arches there, but it's missing a support, and so that's gonna collapse there, obviously, if you're an engineer. I think that's what happened with that bridge anyway. So I think what they did is they moved the support without redesigning the arch in between. And I say arch, it's not really an arch, it's pretensile concrete, but it functions similarly to an arch. Anyway, the bridge collapsed and people died. So the moral of the story is, don't do what I'm doing right now. Don't make it up as you go. You should design the thing properly, talk to an engineer, get the whole thing calculated properly, and not change the design. Yeah, it does sound like someone should have been imprisoned for that. I'm not sure what... I don't think they ever told us what happened afterwards. It might just have been covered up. Which, I mean, it sounds terrible to cover something like that up. But you know, like looking at the videos of the bridge falling down, it just looked like the arch wasn't supported properly. And it can happen quite easily too, because especially if they had put the bridge deck down, but they hadn't cast the concrete, at the two ends to hold it in place, and so it's especially weak under those conditions. Like maybe if they had cast the concrete and it had cured, then even though it wasn't engineered properly, it would still hold. Because engineering, the thing is, engineers always calculate an extra 30%, at least an extra 30%. So whatever strength you need, you put in 30% more support than what you need. And sometimes they do more than that. So like if you need 10 columns to hold up a floor, the engineer will put in 13 columns, just in case something goes wrong. So sometimes like you can do the engineering a little bit wrong and it will still be okay, because it's over-engineered from the start. But not always. Alright, so we've gotten that. What should we do about the staircase? And yeah, let me go outside and see how this looks from the outside. It looks fine. It looks alright. Maybe it could use a little more ornamentation. I might just leave that for a later time. Not do it right now. It could use a bit of ornamentation. But aside from that, I think it looks fine. I don't know if we even leave the red, because it looks fine now, although it's because most of it's blue. When was it, says Q? When was the bridge collapse? I think it was last year. It wasn't that long ago. No, I think I want this to be blue. I want this to be blue. The staircase. We should not have... I think we go for March, Florida. I think that's it, Q. Florida, March 2018. It was above a road and it was, the light was red, the cars were there. Yeah, because of a key change in the design and placement of one of its support towers. That's right. That's right. So they moved one of the support towers over, and I think they did it without recalculating the structural span. And so then the structural span was trying to span a longer distance without having more strength to it, and so it fell apart. Alright, so I think we go with the quartz. Let's go for a quartz block of quartz and stairs. So I'm gonna do that. Did they say if anybody was held responsible, Q? Alright, let me know. I should put this back. I'm just wondering how we do the railings for the staircase. Anyway, one thing at a time. I'm choosing the white because we already have white in the corners. We already have the quartz in the corners. And I want to keep the number of colors, not too many colors. So there's like the blue and the white, and a little bit of green, and possibly glowstone lights. So I'm gonna try having the staircase be white as well, and see if we can get away with not having another color. Only the NTSB can give an official account of why the bridge fell, but the federal agency's inquiry could take between 1 to 2 years from the date of the accident. Okay, well. You know, 1 to 2 years is a lot of time for people to move their money so that if they get sued, the money is already gone. I'm just saying. So what, they're still investigating? Is that what that says, Q? That was in response to 3 experts not in the NTSBs all saying it was the pretensioning move. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a registered structural engineer, but to me it looked like it was moving the pretensioning. Or like the pretension concrete was not adjusted at the same time as they moved the support. That looked like what was happening, based on my understanding of structure and architecture. I hadn't seen other experts comment on it. I only saw the news at the time. But yeah, like it looks to me like they just didn't recalculate the pretensioning, the pretension concrete. And it's a rookie mistake too. Like, it's such a rookie mistake because of course you have to recalculate the structure if you make the span wider. Like, why would you not recalculate? It's an unbelievably rookie mistake. Anyway, people died. Q says the contractors who designed and built the disastrous Florida International University Bridge have been cited by federal authorities for several serious worker safety violations and face tens of thousands of dollars in fine. Tens of thousands of dollars is nothing. Like, these projects cost several million routinely. This round of OSHA citations is likely only the beginning of legal actions resulting from the deadly collapse of the new Florida International University pedestrian bridge in March. Investigations of the National Transportation Safety Board are ongoing and depending on its findings could lead to a criminal case. Well, okay, sure. Look, here's the thing, Q. I'm gonna make a bold prediction since I'm not responsible for my words, apparently. I predict that by the time they bring the criminal case to court, the company would have been wound up and dissolved, and all the shareholders will be gone, and you won't get a cent out of them. You might find a scapegoat, like maybe one of the engineers gets scapegoated and he goes to prison, but all the money would be gone, and the company would be dissolved. That's my prediction. Construction is actually often a dirty business. Like, sometimes in the movies you see like construction being correlated with organized crime. It's not actually fiction, it's actually kind of true. Construction is a dirty business.